that is, do men need to be established financially before getting married? Do they need to, or is it a good idea that they should?
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Yes, I know. It's that dreaded word again. The word that, we're not supposed to say in polite company and conversation. The dreaded M word.
N-word?
The M word.
Oh, they said N-word. Oh my goodness, where are you going?
And I'll tell you what the second
Money!
Yeah, money changes everything. I know. Yes, money and love, as they keep saying, shouldn't go together, and should not be a factor at all. I mean, you've heard that? You've heard the saying?
Yeah, it's usually with the one that doesn't have it.
The people that don't have it, kind of like you're saying, justify why they don't have it, or their position, or why it's not necessary. Yeah?
Yeah.
The people that, like I say, don't have it tend to try to justify that's the case. Yeah. That is not necessary. But, as you know, look, we're in a cost of living crisis. It's about money. Yeah, and people are under stress.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, it's a centerpin of human existence, really, isn't it? Especially in the Western world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need money to survive, and we need to be responsible for our earthly existence. So we need, in order to do that here, we need cash. So, yeah, and in relationships, what you notice is that when there's not enough money, there's not enough honey. You know what I mean?
Yes, well, the way you picture it, you put it, to some people, it sounds almost like prostitution.
Well, no.
Well, some people would take it that way. They say, no money, no honey.
Well, I reckon that some relationships are even sort of like that in some way, like business relationships. CEOs or whatever, marrying the
trophy wife.
Well,
trophy wife,
or the person who does all the running around for them. What do you call it? PAs?
PA? It's not often that happens, and it's not.
No, it's not. They're not often. CEOs marry PAs.
No,
I thought it was quite a big trend.
No, it's often that they have affairs with their PAs. That's what I've noticed, and it's more like they marry the trophy wife first, and then the trophy wife, she just spends all her days at the beauty salon and shopping, and the person then he's always around is the person that helps him.
Yeah.
That helps him around, and so then he
picks up the dry cleaning and
does all that, and spends times with him, and actually shares his life. Actually,
yeah,
she becomes almost like the wife.
Yeah, and then it's the discussion point as well, because you're
in the discussion.
You're in the same industry.
Same thing. No,
same focus every day.
Practically, they're sharing a life together.
Yeah.
And this is something people don't get.
You can spend more time at work than with people at work than what you do. People at home.
Yeah. So if you are not sharing a life, people say, oh yeah, what do? You're married to you share your life together. Someone you share your life together. It's almost like they give it lip service rather than any true meaning. What is sharing a life together then to these people? You just physically live together? Is that it? One person, or you both have your own careers. And just come home and sleep together. Well,
what was the question
sharing
again?
Originally, do men need to be established financially before getting married? And I'll tell you why. What prompted this topic for today is that I did see a short video on social media.
Yeah.
From a male relationship expert.
Relationship
expert. So
MGTOW person.
Not necessarily.
Men going their own way?
Not necessarily. But he is pretty hard and I've noticed, more traditional. But he's saying, well, I wouldn't say traditional, on the more conservative end. Okay, he says that women should choose men that are financially and emotionally stable. And he brings up the line, if people are familiar with the book Pride and Prejudice, classic novel by Jane Austen. Yeah, and the opening line of it is, it is a universally acknowledged, it's a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Do you agree with that? A single
Must
man
be in want of
of
a
a
wife.
wife. Yeah, a single man in possession of a
Obviously
good
that's not true
fortune.
because there's some people who, you know, they might be in want of a husband. You know.
Well, we're talking about men.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you know, hello.
oh,
This is
okay. You're
what
talking
year are
about
we in?
what year you're in,
Yeah.
what at the
Unless
moment.
things decide to shift again.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
that's not what this
but
show's about. So,
right, for sure. So, but in the most part, yeah, well, you know, money is the, you know, as far as, you know, women look for stability, you know, and they,
yeah, and they said, yeah, stability. And he's saying that it's normally then that if you want a man like that, it'll be older men.
yeah.
Because it does take time for a man to accumulate
So I think
assets and
as a
resources.
person matures, you know, we've all been 15, 16 and, you know, teeny bopper pictures on the on the walls and stuff, and we grow out of it and we go on to another stage of life. And, you know, and we as we progress and sort of as we become wiser perhaps and all of the rest of it. Like I remember there was someone said recently, what would you, if you had the chance now to go back and being 15 again, would you do it?
Would you do it? The joys of
it's
youth.
like only if you knew what you knew now. If you didn't, no way in the world.
Well, wait a minute. Become that dumb person
Yeah,
that you
it's
were
like,
back
oh
then.
God,
Oh my goodness.
imagine having to go through it all again.
That learning. Oh, why does this work this
And we
way?
still make mistakes.
You know, it's at that point where when you were people were young, they look at the old and they think, oh, you knew it. Then you know nothing. Yes, mate. And then I guess when they get older,
Yeah.
they can think back, oh, they knew so much.
Yeah.
Why was
And-
I so dumb? Why didn't I listen?
And I think with a woman, it's like when she's young, she's like the princess and this, you know, and all that.
Yeah.
19 or like whatever age, and then as she gets a bit older, she suddenly goes, oh, you know, the clock's ticking.
Of course.
And then, you know, and so on and so on. And
Yeah.
they're looking to, you know, where am I gonna settle down and who with?
Yeah, and
you
this
know?
is the thing. Knowing all that, why don't parents actually tell them that? Hey on,
Well,
you're in your
it's-
20s.
it's
Yeah, this is
strange,
the
isn't it?
big
It's not
thing.
like there's a rule book or something.
No, but they would have gone through that same thing themselves.
Yeah, well, they think it's.
And then why not not tell you where your daughter has no idea? You know.
Well, I think a lot of the times they do tell them. It's just that the children just don't listen.
No,
Because
amount of
usually-
times they don't tell them a
there's
lot
an
of
old,
things.
there's the old
Oh, I don't
adage,
want to
like,
interfere. I don't want to tell her what to do.
There's no
Let her
parents.
live her life.
There's no parents-in-law good enough for the son or the daughter. You know, there's no son-in-law or daughter-in-law good enough.
For their child.
Yeah, for their child. You see, so.
No, but look, and this is the thing. You know how you have older men. You should, by what he's saying, you need old. You got to have older. So the type of men women should marry is older, financially, emotionally stable, and also financially stable, because it takes time for men to accumulate. But then women need to marry young, because so they can have children. It's the fertility aspect. So in that respect, that's why you may have younger women marrying older men. It makes sense in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one with the resources and the other one
Especially
with
if
the
they can do it without
fertility.
prenup.
Especially if they can do without prenup. Now, this is one thing he also said. He said that, look, for a man, if he's young, okay, he should marry because at that stage he hasn't accumulated enough yet. He's only in the beginning stages, depending on how old he is and how many distractions he's had. Because if you marry a woman, it'll stop you from one. It'll stop you from she'll interfere with your accumulating, and second, she's going to be spending your money.
Yeah.
Okay, and I heard what he's saying, and that is actually the prevailing thought at the moment, and in a lot of instances, it's actually true.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh, no,
it has.
doesn't
It
have
can
to
be the
Yeah.
total opposite. And so for that, we'll go to the music and we'll be right back, where we're going to delve into this heavy topic more.
Well, I spent many years in professional sports,
Okay.
and I'll absolutely categorically say that if you're in a relationship
You couldn't.
You're very difficult to be an
focus.
elite. You might make it at a professional level, but to be an elite, you got to be single.
Because of the focus, right?
Yeah, because of the focus. And you know what else? It's once there's an argument or some form of distraction,
it puts you off.
You're not thinking about what you should be thinking about. You're thinking about other things. And unless, however, what you just said before, you get a gem of a woman. If you find a gem, she can make you the best. She can make you the best because she can prepare everything for you and know when to keep your moods focused. If she's smart enough, she knows if she needs to vent something, she'll do it at a time when it wouldn't matter.
You know
You'll be over it by the time of the game.
She knows where her bread's buttered. Okay, she'll realise that, and if she's smart enough to play,
that could be a good commercial.
If she's smart enough to play the long game, you think.
If she's smart enough.
Yeah, she'll play the long game.
Yeah. So if a professional sports guy gets a gem, that can really make him. But if he gets sent normal people, very difficult.
Very difficult. I totally agree.
Bring up the ugly psyche, rears its ugly head, and all of a sudden,
and from that, you're
getting enough attention.
Oh, you didn't remember my birthday,
and then
or
when he's
something
on the
like
field,
that.
he doesn't catch the ball.
Yeah,
it falls on the ground, and he loses the contracts. You see, he's not.
Yeah.
You know, you want to see outstanding play, not.
And you've got to be smart enough to know he's got to be successful. The more he's successful, the more money he'll bring in and benefit the both of you. And you get benefits you.
Yeah, it sounds simple.
But people still don't get it.
Simple.
This is the thing.
But when you're faced with it.
You see all this advice, it's not being put out there.
Yeah.
You see? And that is what we're trying to correct here.
Yeah.
Okay? That's
and a
what's
lot
totally
of times these major teams, they have psychologists, right, just for all the wives and the girlfriends to make absolutely, because they've got to keep them happy.
You know why?
They know that the guy's success is largely dependent upon
the women, but but who's the with? But unfortunately, the men just choose the models, the trophy ones, rather than think too deeply. You know why? Because they think they've got an image to uptake. That's elite saying their partner, the woman, needs to be a
certain
look.
Well, it's not always the case, because
usually
some people have had
price.
childhood sweethearts or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no end to, possibilities of what's occurred. But for the most part, because you know why? There's these women who dress like that and look like that. They put a lot of work into it, and they're doing it for a reason. They're putting that work in for a reason. They're at that mirror. They're at that mirror, like that's their business model. And they're putting on the war paint, Yeah. It's like that's their business model. And so they've got to be attractive. And then they've got, and why? Because they're also probably smart enough to know that, they don't want to work.
Yeah, if they're smart enough.
If you're pretty enough, you'll get the the billionaire or whatever, and then you won't need to work anymore, and you've got a sort of a life of. But there's an old adage in all of that, and the old adage is quite simply, if you marry for money, you'll truly earn it. And with that.